Good evening, everyone, and blessed be. This is your host, Aries Starwin, and welcome back to another episode of Witchcraft After Hours. We got another fantastic, sexy, sultry read tonight, and this is a very special one for me, because this one is dedicated to my best friend, and maybe even my future lover. This one's going out to you, Sabrina Camilla. Let's go. Tonight's topic, The Secret Sex Lives of Witches, an article by Kristen J. Soleil. From riding greased-up broomsticks to weaving seduction spells, the secret sex lives of witches are the stuff both wet dreams and nightmares are made of. Sex is the X factor in witchcraft. Both serious practitioners and characters in witchy lore are known for their abilities to unleash primal desires. Witches use sexual energy to commune, to manifest, to make magic, and in the case of the medieval hags described in the 1486 witch hunting Bible, the Malleus Maleficarum, even to steal penises. For millennia, sex magic has been a powerful tool in the hands of gifted conjurers, but it has also been a practice slapped by negative distortions by generation of freaked out male historians. As a result, the labyrinthine history of sex in the witchcraft is a heady brew of intrigue, transgression, and repression. During the early modern witch hunts in Europe, female sexuality was viewed as an abomination, but it was also a cultural obsession. Women's bodies and minds were presumed to be more susceptible to vice, and thus more likely to be overtaken by the charms of Satan. In fact, the familiar image of a witch flying on a broomstick has a surprisingly sexual origin. Author Michael Pollan gives perhaps the most detailed description of the alleged sexual connection between witches and their brooms. As he tells it, midwives, herbalists, and ladies in the know, aka witches, would cultivate psychoactive agents including datura, opium poppies, belladonna, hashish, and even the skin of toads with trace levels of the hallucinogen DMT. These ingredients will be combined in a hemp seed oil-based flying ointment that the witches would then administer vaginally using their special dildo, he writes. This was the broomstick, by which these women were said to travel. Other sources, including historian William A. Imboden, confirm that this type of hallucinogen would best be absorbed into the body through a mucous membrane like the vagina, further explaining why the traditional image of the witch would depict her astride on an ointment-coated broomstick. Whether this is an accurate account of an early modern ritual or merely historical hearsay is unclear. But in documents from 1324 trials of Ireland's first accused witch, Lady Alice Kyotler, inquisitors described finding her special stash of finding ointment. In rifling the closet of the lady, they found a pipe of ointment, wherewith she greased a staff, upon which she ambled a gallop through a thick and thin, they write. Imagine being arrested after the cops found your Hitachi magic wand. This would conceivably still happen in Alabama today, where sex toys remain illegal. Less than 100 years later, after Lady Alice's alleged dildo was taken as evidence of her witchery, the broom as sex toy discourse found its way into visual art. An unattributed woodcut from circa 1400 depicts a witch, demon, and a warlock gliding on these broomsticks towards a peasant woman. Soon after, Ulrich, 1489, etching stars strange beasts riding backwards on a cooking fork, in Albrecht Dürer's circa 1500 engraving Witch Riding Backwards on Goat shows a broom between a sorceress's legs. By the time witches came to the New World, the idea of deviant femininity unfurled atop a broomstick was ambiguous. In The Enemy Within, a short history of witch hunting, John Demos reveals one book found in the American colonies directing the devout to cut a cross into a broom to ensure wanton women would use it to sweep, not to straddle. As scandalous as drug experimentation may be, however, the outrage over women finding pleasure separate from provocative sex is a stigma that persists to this day. As ever, many men in power have little use for female sexual agency unless they are penetrating in its warmth and grace. We will never know for certain the extent to which the broomstick was a metaphorical or metaphysical device, but modern witches continue to employ flying ointments on their nether regions for magical purposes. One present-day young witch recently sampled a flying ointment she found on Etsy. The salve was grown and blended by a woman in Spain who says she fertilizes her henbane, mandrake, belladonna, and tatura under the full moon with her own menstrual blood. I had a beautiful experience with this actually, E.G. told me after trying it. I was feeling very connected to the energy of the plants, feeling like they were giving me a new lens with which to understand the universe and have the dialogue with the plants, the spirit of the plants, whatever you want to call it. I was reading about the witch's ointment and the idea of witches riding broomsticks and how it's still debated about whether it took place or not. Either it was slander by the church or it was real. And even if it was just slander, it's still fascinating because we're scared of women humping broomsticks and getting high. Sex and drugs are so threatening to our society, and in particular women's sexuality and women having access to altered states. It did feel like real reclaiming to the rubbing that ointment on my pussy. While the history of solo sex magic brings us back to the medieval witch and her disco stick, partnered sex magic is connected to an even older lineage. Uniting the spiritual and the sexual in ritual was the domain of proto-witches known as sacred whores. Such women were priestesses in ancient Mesopotamia, Greece, and India who served as living expressions of the love goddess, whose temple they presided in. Through sexual congress, these women, worshippers, hoped to reach higher states of religious connection. Whoa, that was intense. My goodness. Now, you know me, I knew the story behind the broomstick, but a lot of people don't know why witches are always depicted, flying on broomsticks. But yes, that is where the story comes from. This is a very, very accurate read. Yeah. If you want to read this article, you can actually go online to bust.com. Man, what a name for a website. Bust. That's B-U-S-T. You know where I'm going with that. Bust.com/sex. And you can look this article up for yourself. It's called The Secret Sex Lives of Witches. And again, it's by Kristen J. Soleil. I hope you all enjoyed that one. A little historical facts about the sultry, sexy part of witchcraft. Hope you all enjoyed the show tonight. I definitely had a fun time reading that one. I'm now hot and bothered and ready to enjoy the rest of my evening. Hopefully you are too. And if you're with a significant other, hopefully it spiced up your life a little bit. I'll see you all for the next show. So God is blessed and blessed be.